Good morning again. Today I'm going to fix one of my favorites. Of course, anything Mexican is one of my favorites, but this is going to be Huevos Rancheros. And first I want to show you the grocery bargains I got yesterday, and we're actually going to use this. A can of tomatoes was 50 cents. Nutmeg nuts, they were $2. It says $2.99, but they were marked down to $2. I got 3 jars of those. I use a lot of nutmeg. I got another bag of 2.5 pounds of limes for $1. I was running low because I make pico de gallo all the time. So I'm going to be squeezing the juice out of these and freezing them in ice cube trays. Here for $1 I got a head of romaine lettuce, a big old nice English cucumber, and a tomato. And here I've got 1, 2, 3 poblano peppers. And later I'm going to be making chili rellenos with those poblano peppers. 2 onions, a big Idaho potato, and a sweet potato. So I got that all of those bags for $1. So maybe I'll get to do a recipe on the chili rellenos. But today we're going to do Huevos Rancheros. So I've got about a teaspoon, doesn't take much here, a teaspoon of olive oil in this pan. We're going to use lots of skillets and lots of burners. So olive oil in that. We're going to saute some onions, bell peppers, and in here I have a red jalapeno and a clove of garlic. Can you see that in there? So we're just going to start that out. In the meantime, in this little skillet, I've got some black refried beans, and I added about a tablespoon of butter and a little bit of chicken stock to thin it out a little bit. I like my beans a little thin, to where, not to where you can pour them out, but I don't want them so pasty that you have to really shake your spoon to get them out. And in this skillet, I've just put a dab of olive oil on a napkin and ran it around the skillet to make it nice and oiled again, but no oil in the skillet. We're going to turn that on and get it hot, and this is how we're going to toast our tortillas. And I use flour tortillas, 2 flour tortillas. These are store-bought, but if you leave me a comment down below that you want to ever see me do some homemade tortillas, I'll be glad to do that. Because homemade tortillas are the best ones in the world. Anytime you can do anything homemade, that's the best way in the world. So this is going to start sizzling now a little bit. And now with my 50-cent bargain, I'm a serendipity cook. Whatever I go to the market and find on special, I figure out a way to use whatever I found. And so this 50-cent can of plum tomatoes is going to be making the base for my ranchero sauce today. And in fact, I'm only going to use 3 of them. That leaves 1. Might as well use them all. You can see the big dent in the can. That's why I got it for 50 cents. But as long as the tops aren't bulging, if it's not bulging in the top or in the bottom, it's just a dent. If it was defective, the lid would be puffed a little bit, and you could hear it bouncing up and down if you touched the lid. So there's nothing wrong with the dent can. So we're gonna just chop up these tomatoes. You can use fresh tomatoes. We're going to add salt and pepper to this, and my favorite, the rainbow peppercorns. I'm just giving these refried beans a stir so they don't stick. And in the comments below, if you ever want to see me cook the black beans from scratch, I'll be glad to do a video on that. And then how to make either black bean soup, another one of my favorites, refried beans. So leave your comments. I'm always happy to take your recommendations for a video, because I want to provide videos on things that you're interested in. So in this skillet, I've got maybe a tablespoon of olive oil, not much. We're going to let that oil get a little warm. I'm going to move these to the back burner now and bring my tortilla pan forward. I like my eggs sunny side up, so I'm going to put a lid on it. That kind of helps bring the heat over those eggs, and then the tops cook better. I don't want to have to turn them. Okay, this skillet is beginning to smoke, but gonna plop the first tortilla in there. When you warm a tortilla, what you're watching for is the little air pockets to come in there. Can you see those air pockets? And so when you start seeing those air pockets bubbling up, then it might be ready to flip. You can check it and see. We're going to flip it. Okay, it immediately puffed as soon as I flipped it, and you can see the little brown in there. That's what we want, a little browning. Okay, there's our first tortilla. Our second tortilla. Now, while this tortilla is warm, it depends. Are you going to eat your beans and everything on the tortilla? I don't. I put mine on the plate because I want to hold that tortilla in my hand and roll it up like that, and then dip my tortilla in all of that yellow egg goodness. But you can also put butter on it if you want to, but I'm not going to this time. I am still on my diet, so I usually don't eat the tortillas, but because I've just had another 2 weeks, 2 pounds lost this week, then I can afford a few more carbs today. Plus, they say it's not only what you eat, but when you eat. So if I limit my carbs to breakfast, then I've got all day long to burn them off. And what I'm trying to do is not trigger an insulin reaction. Because when your insulin is operating, you're not burning your fat. And I learned this from a man who just recently had the gastro bypass surgery. And that's what his doctor told him. So I'm going to trust it. Whatever, I'm losing weight where I never did before, so I'm happy. Bring these eggs back to the front, and they are beginning to get cooked, but I had them, this is a big pan and it was on a small burner, so we've got a little way to go on the eggs yet. Okay, the eggs are beginning to look real good now. I'm going to go ahead and take them out of the pan. Now, if you don't like your eggs this soft, then you just continue cooking them. Another thing you could do, and I have done this in the past, is you could go ahead and put some of that delicious sauce on right now and let that help cook on the top a little bit, because this is already hot. We serve our beans on the side. While the beans are still hot, I'm going to add a little queso fresca. This is a Mexican cheese. It is not a melting cheese, it's just a crumbled cheese. So we're going to put a little queso fresca on the beans. It'll melt a little bit, but it doesn't get soft and melty. And we could put some on the eggs too if we wanted it, but this is usually how we eat ours. And a little sauce over that one. A little sauce here. Darling, do you want some sauce on your beans?
Sure.
He's going to have some sauce on his beans. I might as well too. There's plenty left. Now you can put this in the refrigerator in a little covered dish, or the next time you make chili to stew, you can just do lots of things with this, because after all, it's just a tomato sauce. It would even go well on top of meatloaf. But there's our Mexican breakfast: Huevos Rancheros, refried beans with cheese, and a flour tortilla. This has been Granny B's Recipes. Now go and take it and make it your own. Thanks again.